Well, thanks everybody for coming to today's IEP meeting for Andrew Mosier. Jan, would you like to introduce?
Sure. Cynthia, I know you've been to several IEPs before, but it's important that you know who we all are and what our roles are today. We have Molly here because she works with Andrew as his physical therapist. We have Stephanie, who is his special education teacher working primarily with LD students, and Andrew is a part of her caseload. Doug is here to represent the regular education concerns, and as you know, I being one of the building principals, I'm here as the LEA. My purpose is basically to make sure we stay on track and stay focused, although I won't actually be running the meeting. It's also important that you know that at any point in time, if you feel a need for us to adjourn this meeting so you can consider other information or just think about what we've been talking about, you certainly have a right to do that. We can adjourn and reconvene when it's a convenient time for you.
The state has a requirement that somebody representing the local education agency participate in all IEPs. And I think to some degree that they want somebody that has the authority, or that the board is given the authority to make decisions and perhaps to expend resources. So that is why it's generally a building administrator or the director of special education if it is a situation in which that's likely to be a topic of discussion.
I think I'd like to start with your concerns for Andrew. What do you see his progress is this year? What would you like to keep the same? What kind of things would you like to be addressed in the next IEP?
Okay. Then I think this year Andrew's really made some significant strides in his interaction with his peers. I think he's also doing much better at his transitions in his classrooms and staying focused in the classroom, participating in classroom activities. He still has a lot of strengths in science, and of course in our family we always are encouraging that.
He was on the typewriter.
You know, has a wonderful sense of humor and can bring that into all situations. Andrew's highly intelligent. He reads social situations not as well as we may like him to, so that might be something we'd like to talk about on socially, how he gets through some of those awkward situations that for you and I or any of us is easy for us to read, but not as easy for Andrew to read.
It's really a work in progress. It is mandated by IDEA 97 that we take a look at them every quarter, or as many as often as regular ed students are getting reports. Parents of students with disabilities also need reports on their progress towards their IEP goals.
Cynthia, since Andrew's turning 14 over the next school year, we will need to write a transition plan as part of his IEP, because the state law says that at 14 he needs to have a transition plan in place as part of his IEP.
And Cynthia, I know you already know a lot about transition because I remember meeting with you prior to Andrew coming up here to the middle school. And a lot of those kinds of things we did to make his move here smooth and comfortable for him will be the same sorts of things we need to think about before he goes to high school.
I've noticed that it really has made a difference this year. We met with the 6th grade staff and you, and Laura, who is his one-on-one aide, prior to him coming to 7th grade. And I think it gave an opportunity for the staff to feel at ease, because we had heard so many things about Andrew. And we had some concerns, how he would fit into the regular classroom and what kinds of modifications that we would have to make.
Which is one of the multiples of 7.
Now the numbers that Andrew mentioned were 2, 3.
Laura sits in the back of the room, and what I'm gradually doing at the beginning, I had Andrew in a seat right in front of Laura with a buddy of his. And I'm progressively, every time we make a seating change, I'm moving him closer toward the front of the room, but farther away from Laura. And it's to the point now where she doesn't have to go up and interact with Andrew hardly at all.
He really, really loves to learn. Some subjects more than others, but he's like a big sponge. I see a lot of my job, especially after I've worked with him now for a while, is not so much helping him academically, because his parents do that and his teachers do that, is I'm helping him fit in with the other students.
So what, are you on the
I really admire the school district on how much effort they put forth for these kids. It's tough because you could probably have 15 of me and it still wouldn't be enough because there's a lot of need out there. So
I think that she learned how to read him very well, and Andrew used to have a much bigger problem with frustration in the classroom, especially in math, truthfully. He would not be able to stay in a classroom for an entire class period, and she could read how he was getting agitated and knew when to help, helped him learn how to feed back to himself, how to get out of that situation before he would just start throwing pencils or something. That whole piece really has changed. He doesn't have that frustration level
progressed
anymore.
so well. Yes. And what I just marvel at is that the way the kids respond. They're very, very understanding, because his style is different.
Sure.
I mean, the way that he speaks is a little different. When he gets excited, he has a tendency to digress a little bit in the way that he talks, or those kinds of things, and they're very, very understanding that way. So it's been a good year. I mean, it's been frustrating for him at times, and I know he's been frustrated, but he's made great progress.
Okay, thanks, Doug, for those comments about how he's doing in math class. Molly, did you want to say anything about how he's progressing in PT?
Yeah, I just think even just more recently, he's really started to stand up straight. I was talking to Cynthia more. I'm worried about, he's got a curvature of the spine or scoliosis, and he kids around and he walks like that all the time, and he always, makes jokes about it. But I was concerned it was progressing, so I decided we have to stop this. He was very mature about it. I mean, basically he listened, and I was excited, so now he is standing up straighter.